Welcome back to Pittsburgh. We're just about ready to go here. Syracuse Orange, Pittsburgh Panthers. Let's take a look at the starting 11 for both teams. We'll start with the visitors in Syracuse.
When you talk about Syracuse, you have to talk about Jenna Tivman and what she has done just with this program as they have continued to build. She is going to anchor down and hold it down in the back with Gillard, two players that have really kind of created a good chemistry so far this season.
And here's the starting 11 for Pittsburgh, and undefeated at home.
Samaya Fury has been really dangerous up top coming from Oklahoma State. Watch her around the 18. She's really special, has the ability to just get in behind, and a good finisher, 3 goals and 3 assists so far on the season for her.
Well, it looks like Fury's going to start with the ball here for the Pittsburgh Panthers, again at home against the Syracuse Orange. Morgan Bowen, Maura Sheridan, so glad to have you here with us. We got, a big ACC weekend in women's soccer as we are nearing the end of the regular season and we're underway. It's Pittsburgh in white and Syracuse in the classic orange kits. Referee today is J.C. Griggs. Both of these teams, Morgan, are coming off of draws. Now, it was a surprising draw for Pittsburgh. Played 1-1 against Boston College. And then for Syracuse, back-to-back draws, but one was against Virginia, the other against Clemson. And as we said in the open, they have been flirting with that big upset. Let's take a look at the keys to the game, Morgan. What do you think both Pittsburgh and Syracuse need to do to get the job done today?
Yeah, well, when it comes to Pitt, they have to... For Pitt, it's important for them to possess. If they can possess and find those midfield pockets, they'll be able to really establish the game that they like to play and find that ball in behind Syracuse, who they know is going to be really tight defensively. But also for them, it's really important to put this game away early. They're creating a chance right now. Their thought is, if we can put it away early, how is that going to change the rest of this game? They know Syracuse can find their way back in as well if they hang around.
Well, here's an early corner. Trying to get something done. Is that one knocked around in the box and then cleared by Syracuse? Landy Mertz, Schupansky, those are good options for Pittsburgh. I mean, frankly, they have a lot of scoring options, and their best one comes in off the bench in Leah Pace. So expect to see her about 15 to 20 minutes into this game. Leah Pace likes to come off the bench. That's what Randy Waldron told us, and so she will enter as a substitute at some point. And 41 goals scored for Pittsburgh this year. It's been an incredible offensive season. They've been outscoring teams 41-15. And like I said, it was a bit of a surprising low-scoring game against Boston College, a team that had some really lopsided scores early in ACC play. And so, the truth is maybe coming back to reality here. And if you're the Panthers, you got to take care of business against Syracuse today. Schupansky. Syracuse, decent record away from home this season, 2-2-1, but you see that Pittsburgh number, that's what stands out. I mean, the Panthers have had a lot of success here overall in this season. I mean, 4 wins in ACC play is a really great mark, and it puts them really in a nice position right now to get to that ACC tournament. But as this one, a shot from way out, goes wide. But there's still some work to be done, and the next game for Pittsburgh is against Florida State, so that's going to be a challenge.
It didn't look like much, but that opportunity from Schupansky, that's what Syracuse wants. They want Pitt to settle for those shots from long range, and it was hard to tell if that was supposed to be on frame or maybe a cross for a runner in behind. But Cuse is okay with letting that one go. They really trust what they have with Vanderbosch. They know she has good hands, has the ability to make good saves, especially when they're coming from distance. So that is fine for them.
All right, let's take a look at the keys to the game for Syracuse, because we've talked a lot about Pittsburgh, but again, this is a Syracuse team that's having a much better season this year than in years past.
Well, and for them, they defend as a team. They've done really well when it comes to that, so they have to keep it up tonight. They have to defend as a unit. They said it's their identities. It's working. Let's stick to it. We have to keep Pitt in front of us. That's what we heard when talking with Nikki Adams. And then also, set pieces are an opportunity for them. She said if we are clinical, that will really set us up well.
Early opportunity here for Syracuse, and it's just wide. That's a great look from Chelsea Demond. Definitely a player to watch out for on the orange side. She has got 5 goals and 5 assists this year for Syracuse.
And it was the quick ball in, leading to the tackle with Commandant, but setting in Demond behind. She easily just cuts up on her player in Gordon and looks for that near post. This is a really good look, and I love the fact that she cuts this ball back to get it on her right foot, right in the center of the field.
Yeah, make no mistake about it. This is a Syracuse team that certainly has the confidence to get the job done here today. Like we alluded to, a 2-2 draw against Virginia, and really Virginia outshot them significantly in that game, but they got an incredible performance from Shea Vanderbosch, 9 saves for the freshman keeper, and Syracuse just took advantage of the opportunities that were presented offensively, and so that's what they're looking to do today with Blue Ellis in the starting lineup as well. Got a glimpse of Nikki Thrasher-Adams in her 4th season as head coach for the Syracuse Orange. Done a really solid job of turning this program around, but it wasn't an easy task, and she's been very honest with us, Morgan, when we talked to her about, frankly, last year this team was not healthy at all. They had so many injuries. I mean, even a couple of players I've already mentioned, and Demond and Ellis, were out for the year with knee injuries. And so they were playing with about 14 players on the roster, and they were just trying to survive. And now it's about trying to thrive and build a program. Nobody home on that cross. Davidson for Pittsburgh. Demond with that foul. Aggressive, though. Nice pressure for Syracuse.
Laura, something I've been impressed with so far is Syracuse and how they're stepping high. They're making the field seem a lot smaller than it is with just how they're pressing as a unit. But talking with Nikki Thrasher-Adams, she was great to talk to, and she was just so proud of her team and what they've been through last year. She said the spring, they were finally having time to develop as a team, and they're really reaping the benefits now. And she had nothing but absolute praise when it came to her players and what they are building and just how they're fully bought in as a team and willing to do the work to grow this program.
Yeah, she said she met with, the Syracuse staff, and she met with everybody in the higher ups in the athletic department and said, this is going to be a long journey, but please believe in us and we will get there. And it seems like the pieces are starting to fit together here for Syracuse as Fury tries to make something happen on the Pittsburgh end. Wide, Kylan Grant back to play defense for Syracuse. This one header over Fury and cleared by Kate Murphy.
Where I also felt like it was really easy to buy into the culture and what Syracuse was trying to do in talking with Nikki the other day, because just the pieces that she's putting into place and utilizing the spring how she did.
Demond off to the races, just blazing forward. That one slips past Blue Ellis, but the opportunity is too high on the follow-through.
And this whole opportunity came from a transition, and you have to give credit at the top of really midfield to Demond. She's just special on the ball, creating this space, gets past Davidson as well. She had Ellis open early on, wasn't able to find her. But that was a good opportunity from Syracuse that truthfully didn't come from much, because it was just an entry ball right around midfield that Demond was special with.
Again, Demond is a transfer from Northeastern. She transferred last year, but she didn't get to play because she tore her ACL in the first exhibition game for Syracuse last season, and so she sat, of course, the entire year, and now she is back and making some noise again. 5 goals and 5 assists for the grad student.
What's really special, I feel like, about this game tonight is that these are two programs that Pitt might be a little bit more ahead of Syracuse just when it comes to what they've built as a program, but Syracuse is right behind. Maybe they're not getting all the results and all the wins this year, but you're seeing how they're playing against some of the top teams year over year in the ACC, tying Virginia, tying Clemson. They're building as a program, and this team, these players are just excited to do something, and it's showing for them.
Here's a corner. Watch for Tivnan on this back post over the head of Muktins. Not cleared yet for Pittsburgh. Demond trying to make some noise, and it's booted towards the corner. Well, in that 1-1 draw to Clemson, the last game that Syracuse played, it was a header from Jenna Tivnan, who's the center back, that drew them even. So definitely watch for those on these set pieces. Syracuse has been very strong, whether it's Ashley Rauch taking them or it's Kate Murphy. They are very, very solid on corners. Pittsburgh head coach Randy Waldrum, it's been there, done that for him. He's had a long and storied college soccer career. Longtime Notre Dame coach, won 2 national championships with the Fighting Irish, and then moved on to Pittsburgh to rebuild this program, and boy, what a job he has done. We talked about the fact that Pittsburgh has 11 wins this season, 1 more. That's a program record. They set the program record last year, which just speaks to what he has been building.
I don't think it does speak to it, and I still don't think it does quite enough to not just the results that you've seen from Pitt, but their style of play. They play a very sophisticated possession style, and they're so big on their game model. And this team knows exactly what's going on in all different parts of the game when the ball is in different sections of the field. They're just at a different level when it comes to the style of play. And yes, they're getting those results. Obviously, they still want to grow even more, but the style that Randy Waldrum has brought to Pitt and what they have done has really impressed me. We got the chance to talk with Leah Pace earlier this season, and I know we were both blown away just from how she sees the game, and just the way that they're playing is really impressive to me.
Yeah, Pittsburgh clearly puts himself in the category of other top teams in the conference right now, trying to make some noise as a cross is deflected out by Tivnan for Syracuse, intended for Fury. Definitely someone that they're looking for, Pittsburgh, in Samaya Fury. She's had the goal in the last game against Boston College, but she's got 3 goals and 3 assists, all in pretty big moments for this Pittsburgh side, as Demond is slow to get up. Not good news for Syracuse. Demond just trying to walk that off. It is about 51 degrees. It feels like 47 degrees in Pittsburgh, so it's not exactly the most comfortable weather, although I think in Syracuse, New York, this is considered summer weather. Demond looks good, takes a shot from distance, and it curls out. Well, number 19 Rutgers takes on number 12 Syracuse at noon Eastern. Again, Sunday best this week. Then it's off to Chapel Hill for number 1 North Carolina hosting number 9 St. Joseph's. Both are right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. So that's field hockey games coming up this weekend. Everyone's kind of closing in on their ACC regular season across the conference right now. Again, you look at a Syracuse team that just has the 1 conference win, but it's against Miami, and that was a team that they technically should have beat, but 2 draws is progress from last year after winning no conference games last season at all. Syracuse making steps in the right direction. They were, again, 0-10 in ACC play last year. Should note, too, 23 goals this year, 13 last year. Here's an opportunity for Pittsburgh. Murphy boots, but right towards the middle. A bit of a dangerous opportunity. Fury takes a shot, deflected. Here's a second chance, blocked again. That one by Caulfield for Pittsburgh.
That's really well done defensively from Cuse, not just on the first ball, but the second and third, to be able to slide over and block. I would have loved to see Gordon, too, on the initial set piece, maybe knock that ball around so Pitt can look to build again. Syracuse is sitting so deep.
Service in, intended for Schupansky over her head.
And as these balls continue to drop in, this is actually going to work in Syracuse's favor just because of the sheer numbers. But Pitt does a nice job keeping it alive as well after the hard tackle on Schupansky. But you can just see all the orange jerseys in that small space. If you're Pitt, you're a team you know you can possess. That ball's got to come back out deeper. Because if these balls are just knocked in from distance, Syracuse will be able to get those numbers behind the ball and block.
Well, there's so many players on this Pittsburgh roster that can score. And that, even though it was so difficult to lose a player of Amanda West's caliber, of course, she's the all-time leading scorer in Pittsburgh history, what it did mean is they now have to win by committee, and they have a lot of players on this team that are very capable, and they can't just rely on one. And so it's lent itself to some different players stepping up, including Leah Pace in her senior season.
Well, and sometimes I feel like when you say goals by committee, it can seem like someone has 1 goal, 2, maybe 3 max. No, this is a team that's definitely not having trouble scoring. They definitely have the goals by committee, just players from both sides making a difference. So, yeah, it is goals by committee, but it's really not affecting Pitt too much when you look at what they've done so far, leading the ACC in goals so far in the season.
Yeah, you see some of the injuries for this Pittsburgh team. Losing Minas, losing Moon, losing West, as you see Amanda West right there. It's been difficult, and I think a lot of teams would have really stumbled after losing someone of Amanda West's caliber. And they did have a little bit of a tough situation against VCU the next game, but after that, Pittsburgh has looked really solid. They met as a team and have been able to fill that void. And the thing is, Pittsburgh's going to be even scarier next year. Lofted up. Demond Ellis in the box right now. And we got a foul just outside. That's going to lead to a free kick here for Syracuse. Palomo commits. All right, you see Murphy back to take this. Definitely a threat on these routes as well. A goal, 3 assists for the Cuse. Puts this one up. Headed for Tivnin. And reaching out and making the grab over her own player is Lazzarini. Caitlyn Lazzarini, the keeper today for Pittsburgh, a senior, finally getting her moment as a starter in net this year. And she's done a really solid job. 4 shutouts. We talk about the success for Pittsburgh and all of the records that they're breaking this year. Lazzarini is on the brink of breaking one. She's got 19 career wins in net for Pittsburgh, 1 more, and that she is the winningest keeper ever in Panthers history. Palomo. Fury has it swiped. Settled for Syracuse. Caught a glimpse of Grace Gillard, who is a freshman center back, seeing a ton of time for Syracuse. She's averaging about 89 minutes per game as the most on the team. They've asked a lot of her. It's never an easy role, Morgan, to step in as a center back as a freshman and get the minutes that Gillard is getting, but she has handled it with so much poise.
Well, and she's also partnered up with Jenna Tivnin. So these are 2 players that are just making one another better. They complement one another really well, but no more. It's not easy to step in as a freshman, especially in the ACC, playing some of the best attackers game over game. But Gillard has done a really nice job stepping in. And when you just look at the minutes she's gotten, it makes sense why she's such a big part of this team.
Well, she is a Bedford, England native, as Pittsburgh with potentially a costly turnover. Demond takes a shot, and stepping back is Lazzarini. That was a tough angle for Demond, but Pittsburgh maybe got to be a little more careful there with some of those turnovers in areas where Syracuse could punish you.
Demond has picked up the ball in a few dangerous places, Something, though, that's really impressing me so far from Cuse is the way that they're keeping the field small, but they're covering ground as a team quickly, even though they don't look to be, sprinting at players as fast as they can. It's just the way that they move together. It's very cohesive. It's fully a unit moving across the field, and that's what's making it difficult for Pitt to build. We know that they like to possess. Pitt has not had much of the possession as clean as they like it. They haven't been able to get their outside backs forward. They haven't been able to get width that way either. And I think Cuse just has had a really good game plan. I've been really impressed with just how they've covered the field as a team to make it difficult for Pitt to possess.
Mockdins takes it away for Syracuse. Resettles for the Orange. Kylan Grant out wide. Trying to avoid the pressure. Back to Mockdins. Getting the start today for Syracuse. Been kind of in and out of the starting lineup because Aaron Fleury is still working her way back from a concussion. Now, we know that Fleury is available. We will probably see her at some point over the course of this game, but Thrasher Adams, head coach for Syracuse, was just kind of debating on whether she was going to start Fleury or not. And so they trust Mockdins, and that's who's in the starting lineup today. Lands for Fury. Pittsburgh not on the same page there. Fury turns it over. Looking for Landy Mertz. Demond gets tripped up, and we got a whistle.
Demond has been special so far. Just how she's created and put herself on the ball in dangerous situations. Pitt's not doing a great job when Demond is on the dribble going straight at them. They've pulled her down a few times, or she's gotten by her defender. So she's a player, whether Syracuse can feed her in good areas or if she can pick that ball off of a foot of Pitt, she's going to continue to be dangerous.
Rauch back for the kick. 2 goals, 2 assists for Ashley Rauch, just a sophomore on this roster. Syracuse has 19 underclassmen on this team, so a very, very young lineup. As this one's lofted up into the box. Header trending back is Demond. Tough angle, boots it forward, and then it's cleared. Lands for Rauch. Top of the area, gets knocked down, no call. Murphy, aggressive here. Demond keeps on going here for Syracuse, puts on a cross, broken up. And a corner is coming for the Orange, just relentless in the attack right now.
Syracuse is doing a nice job when that ball comes all the way across the far post of keeping it in. You see Demond special right there, trying to knock the ball back across. Something too, though, Pitt is going in hard for these tackles. They are trying to win them. They've been lucky a few times. I think if the referee wants this game a little bit tighter, he could easily call one. So they just need to be careful of how they're stepping and making sure they're winning the ball.
Well, we'll see another set piece here for Syracuse. It's the second corner on the day. This one sails over for Tivnan, and the header is redirected wide. Davidson tracks it down, but it will be a goal kick here for Lazzarini and company. Well, we'll see Leah Pace come in and Yapel as well. So those are the 2 subs early for Pittsburgh. We assumed we'd see both Emily Yapel and Leah Pace in this game, and we get them here in the first half. Of course, Leah Pace, 7 goals this year, 4 assists. She has been outstanding this season for the Panthers. Another foul against Pittsburgh. Can you see Leah Pace? She is ever so introspective, ever so intense, and she loves to score, and she's really found the back of the net consistently for Pittsburgh this year. And once Amanda West went down, they needed someone to step up and play that role, and you see she's having quite the breakout season in her senior year at Pittsburgh. As a transfer, originally started her career at Albany, but has made some great strides with the Panthers this season. For Tivnan again, that is clearly who they are going to on all of those set pieces as Demond tries to make a move. Centers, breaks through, puts on a shot, doesn't get there to Ellis. Right back in the box for Syracuse. Tivnan pokes it out, lofted up, and Lands for Lazzarini. Quick rollout here for the Panthers. Caulfield, plenty of space. Davidson down on the green, and it will eventually be Pittsburgh ball off that foul.
Ashton Gordon was special on the back line, clearing this ball out, but referee definitely missed a handball there on Yapel, right around the top of the box.
Yeah, Yapel just came in this game with pace. And the last two just played about 15 minutes, so I think we're going to see more of Yapel today. Palomo settles here for Pittsburgh. Like you said, Morgan, just looking to possess a little bit more. Syracuse has absolutely been the aggressor in the opening minutes of this game. Here's Zamond, right back at it. Can't do it all alone, being pushed out by Mertz.
You can see Mertz calling for that ball on her right foot when that one comes in to give her a chance to turn or play from it.
Checking in for Syracuse, number 26.
Well, here comes a sub that we knew we would see at some point. It's Aaron Fleury enters the game. Blue Ellis takes a seat. Fleury is a redshirt sophomore for Nikki Thrasher, Adams and company. She's got 4 goals and 1 assist. Again, was working her way back from a concussion, and now she is in this game. Very capable scorer for Syracuse. She's getting bounced around in the box. Gillard, Tivnan, reset. Oh, we got 20 minutes to go. No score yet. Syracuse and Pittsburgh here Thursday night in the ACC on ACC Network. Then you see that 6 teams are ranked in the top 25 here in ACC women's soccer. That isn't a surprise. It's nothing new. And when we talked to Randy Waldron, he said, look, I think at least 8 teams are going to get into the NCAA tournament, maybe even more from the ACC. And Pittsburgh has a great case to be one of them. They just got to continue and finish the regular season strong, you know, but having a win over Notre Dame on their resume, I think that will be the statement win that will send them into the NCAA tournament.
And they were missing a statement win the last couple years, but for them, I definitely agree with you more. I think we will see them. I think you could even make the case that they could host a first round game. I think they've earned the ability to do that, but they have to continue on. We know they haven't won since October 1st. So this is a team that they have 4 ACC wins, but can they continue that? Not just for the points. They need it for the points to make it to the ACC tournament, but also you're not a team that, as a team, you don't want to kind of slide into the NCAA tournament, maybe not playing as you were earlier on in the season.
Right, it's important to peak at the right time, and that's what Pittsburgh's trying to do as we see Leah Pace goes to work, sends it wide on the wing here for Pittsburgh. An opportunity for the Panthers. Caulfield. Palomo off the service, headed out by Kate Murphy. Yeah, again, Pittsburgh beat Notre Dame, and that's, you know, I think everybody knew that Pittsburgh was going to be pretty good in ACC play, but it wasn't until they took down the Fighting Irish that I think the rest of the conference was put on notice, and that happened September 25th, which also happened to be Randy Waldron's birthday, and he was very pleased with his team and made sure to mention it to us when we were talking about that win and what it meant to this program. Demond pushed out wide. 2 defenders needed to stop Demond, and she keeps on going. Here she comes for Syracuse. A little dump off to Fleury, top of the box, blocked on her shot.
I've been a little surprised at how reactive Pitt has been defensively. Syracuse has been ready for every 50-50, every second ball, and Pitt's just trying to react to it. But this is really the second time after their last opportunity going forward that we've seen Pitt a little more decisive going forward, playing that ball forward and then looking to switch. You can see in the middle of the field, they're trying to move it around. That's what they've been missing. They've struggled to find that possession in this game, and that's really the pillar of the way that they play, is establishing that first, and they're still trying to find it late in the first half.
We saw just the one shot on goal, and Syracuse has it. And a low-scoring game, that is a game that you would think would favor Syracuse. I mean, this is not a team that's scoring at an extremely high rate. Syracuse has 23 goals this year compared to 41 for Pittsburgh. So again, like I said, a low-scoring game, that might be a benefit for Thrasher Adams and her side. Gordon looks around, surveys, bumps it off a Syracuse player, and Mockton's. Caulfield runs into trouble, back with Syracuse. Well, we do have another whistle against Pittsburgh, as Rauch slow to get up here for the Orange, but it will be another free kick for Syracuse.
Well, and Rauch did the work defensively to be able to get in on the tackle that she did to really limit Pitt from finding the other side. That's what they were looking for. But Ashley Rauch stepping in. It was a good tackle to limit the attack on the other side, and it worked out well for Syracuse holding on to possession.
Schupansky pushes it out towards the midfield. And we just really haven't talked too much about some of these forwards for Pittsburgh because they haven't had the ball too much, and Syracuse again earns it right back.
And I keep mentioning the possession more, but that's what gets those attacking personalities involved. It's that ball in the midfield. That's what really creates it, finding those players out wide. But you're right, we haven't talked about Landy Mertz. We really haven't talked about Schupansky.
Well, we will see a card given out to Pittsburgh because you can kind of feel the frustrations boiling over a little bit here for the Panthers.
And it's important for Pitt to just get hold of the ball again. It was Leah Pace, and that is a frustration one. Just an extra little push. I don't think it looked as much as it did. At first, it didn't look like much, but it is a frustration thing. And for Pitt, how can they just get back on the ball and connect simple passes? They found it in the middle, but they're having trouble either playing it back or turning and finding the other side. So for them, where's the support coming from off the ball? I think that's what they're missing right now.
And if you're Pace, you're the leading scorer on this team, get a first half yellow, not a good thing. That's going to lead to a corner here for Syracuse off the head of Gordon. Ashton Gordon, it looks like, so Pace was the one to push earlier, but they'll give that yellow card to Gordon on something that happened a little bit later, so a couple of seconds after that, but we did see that Leah Pace push. Maybe she got away with one, so it isn't Pace with the yellow. But everyone back to play some defense here for Pittsburgh. Is this one locked in up here from Murphy? Tivnan tries to make something happen, and she goes over the back, and so it will be Pittsburgh ball. She takes out a defender in the process.
We already thought it, but it's pretty clear to see that Tivnan is the target for all these set pieces. She was way at the top of the box, and they still were trying to find her on it. So if you're Pitt, you've got to see where she is. I think Ashton Gordon's been fantastic so far in this first half, really limiting those chances for Q, so maybe she's the one who finds Tivnan.
Commandant circles back here for Syracuse, looking for Murphy, swiped by Mertz. Landy Mertz. Yapel puts it in the box. Pittsburgh ball. And a bounce off the throw-in. Praised as the unsung hero for this Pittsburgh team. That has a goal and 6 assists, and I think that is the definition of an unsung hero, someone that's distributing so well for Pittsburgh. And you know, we've talked about all the numbers, 41 goals, but 39 assists for Pittsburgh as well. They are finding each other nicely, and they have so many different players that can not only score, but connect. Schupansky broken up by Tivnan. Again, the grad student for Syracuse. Leads the team with now 64 starts for the Orange, and she gets things going as Mockton's takes off. Fleury. Fleury in the box. Chelsea Demond. 3 white kits all around her, and she loses it. Mertz. Pittsburgh native. One of 3 on this roster for the Panthers, and Waldrom's done a good job of, getting those players to either transfer home or come here to Pittsburgh originally. They have a nice pool of players, and obviously Waldrom is such a incredible name in the soccer world. It's not too much of an ask, but you see Caulfield, Mertz, Schupansky, all from the area. 12 players on the roster from Pennsylvania as well for Pittsburgh.
More Pitt's had opportunities where they're starting to build, but that final ball, they're looking to play someone in or find them up on the back line. It's just not connecting.
Well, you can tell that Pittsburgh's seen enough of Demond because they're bumping her when they have the opportunity. Get the feeling that someone else might be open as well for Syracuse.
And checking in for your Panthers, number 7,
Fleming Dean will enter the game here for Pittsburgh. Dean is a freshman on this Pittsburgh roster. Caulfield steps off the pitch. Also see Maya McDermott for the first time today as Mockton takes a seat. McDermott is often a part of the starting lineup as well, and she's just a freshman too. As Vanderbosch collides out, puts it all the way back to the midfield. Freshman keeper for Syracuse. You see the numbers, and she's done a great job because she has been inundated with shots sometimes. As I mentioned, against Virginia, had 9 saves. She had 8 saves against North Carolina in what was just a 1-0 loss for Syracuse. She is oftentimes, cleaning up the mess a little bit with Syracuse, whose defensive unit has been very strong. But the truth of the matter is when you play North Carolina, when you play Virginia, you need a strong goalie performance to stay in it.
And Nikki Thrasher-Adams was telling us that she's just a bright light with this program. They knew she was a good shot stopper coming in, but there's only so much you can see before a player's really thrown into the collegiate game, especially ACC play. And they have been so happy just with what they've seen from Vanderbosch this season.
Yeah, when Michaela Walsh went down, the senior keeper, they needed their freshman to step up, and she is now 14 straight starts for the Cuse. Grant bolts forward. There's McDermott. Pittsburgh on the counter here. Can't find pace. Tivnan. Push from behind.
I mentioned it earlier, but the little things are not working for Pitt right now. It's that entry ball in, it's played to the wrong foot, or it's played a couple inches too far to the side. Well, guess what? Then Syracuse is able to step in defensively and win it. It's the little things they have to do better, and you can see the frustration on Randy Waldrom's face. He knows they are so much better than this, but they have to do the small things well before they can even think about combining, before they can even think about possessing and maybe playing a player in behind. They have to be able to connect the first pass.
Well, Pittsburgh has just 2 shots right now, and they're averaging 18 per game. Off the free kick here for Syracuse. Tripped up. Boy, that could have been bad for Palomo. Schupansky trying to ride that touchline. Get an offside as Demond was clearly off.
It's another example of the little things not going well. Palomo is one of the most technical players on this Pitt team. That never happens, but it's just the small things. Players have to really watch that ball hit their foot. They have to fully step through and know exactly where they're passing right now. It sounds so almost elementary, but when things aren't going your way, you have to go back to basics and really focus on every single touch on the ball, because that's how you build that confidence back in a game when you're struggling to find it at first.
Mertz on the wing. Service in, Vanderbosch punches it out. Just wide enough to be cleared by Fleury. Again, a really strong save percentage from Vanderbosch this year as just a freshman. Mertz tangled up with Murphy. McDermott. Palomo, tackle out, and it's gonna stay with Syracuse off the toss.
Landy Mertz was on the ball, and she was special. You can see she actually has that space, and she goes into it, able to pull the Syracuse players. Also had enough time to really just face up and go 1v1. If they can continue to find that ball wide, finding Mertz, finding Schupansky, those are their playmakers on the wings. That's what Pitt needs to do. Get those players on the ball, or get their outside backs on the ball and push those players up even higher.
Well, we're gonna see DeMond get a little break here before the end of the half. That will put in another freshman in Gianna Savello on the Syracuse side. Hilsenteger will come in on the Pittsburgh side as well. So again, just some late subs before we head into halftime. I'm sure Waldrum really could use this break so we can talk to his team about how to proceed.
There's also like nobody here.
Gordon last to touch for Pittsburgh. Fleury stuck in the corner, looking for McDermott. And it will be a goal kick here for Lazzarini. Well, Morgan, I think we're going to have a chance to talk to Waldrum right before the half, but if you are him and you're kind of game planning what you're going to say at the break, what do you think the messaging is going to be in the locker room?
Well, I think he'll be honest with this team, and they'll be honest with themselves. It wasn't, so far, it hasn't been their best half of soccer. They know that. They know they can be better, but it's got to be cleaner. That's where it starts. It has to be cleaner in all lines. And it starts with them taking care of the ball. So I think that's where it initially starts, because from there you can build forward and kind of go on to the next things. But if you're not doing the small things well, there's nothing you can build from.
Palomo. Blocked away, another block from the Syracuse defense. So Schupansky just can't even get it in the area. Only got 5 minutes to go here in the first half. No score yet. Syracuse and Pittsburgh offside for the Panthers. And again, things just aren't going particularly well as Anna Bout stepped off.
And Maura, things aren't going as well as Pitt wants them to, because you have to look at how many numbers Syracuse has behind the ball. There's times they have 10, if not all 11 players dropped in behind. And Pitt knew that they would sit behind. So that's why they want to possess, to be able to pull those players out of their position. But Cuse is really tight defensively, that unit. They are committed to it. It's not something that they're just trying to do this game. They've done it all season. And remember, there's a reason why they've kept some of the top teams in the country to very low-scoring games.
Pace Mertz trying to connect. Vanderbosch is out and makes the grab just in the nick of time for Syracuse, as that was a pretty solid build-up for Pittsburgh. Yeah, you see the numbers for Syracuse against ranked opponents. I mean, this is just against ranked opponents, but think about this. So last year, Syracuse played Clemson and they lost that game 8-0. Then they tie them in their last match 1-1. So that is the progress that Thrasher Adams is making. I mean, that draw against Virginia is the type of draw that they kind of sent Virginia into a bit of a spiral. They have not really been the same since. And so Syracuse has competed with the best in the conference. And now that they're finally healthy and they have a couple of years of Thrasher Adams system under their belt, they're a much more formidable opponent for teams in the ACC. And they look at a program like Pittsburgh and they think, hey, this could be us in a couple of years if we keep it up.
And you have to remember, too, they're going on the road. So that's why it's even more impressive with just how they came out from the start. But sometimes it is a little bit more fun to play spoiler on the road when you're coming in. And they know that Pitt's looking for that win. So for Syracuse, it might be a little bit easier to really get up for this game. But for Pitt, I think the response that we will see in the second half, we've seen a few games where they haven't been their best in the first half and they come out and really perform in the second. I do expect to see that. I've been impressed with how they can regroup at halftime, whether it's what Randy Waldrom's telling them. I'm sure Leah Pace has a few things to say about her play, but also her team's play. They're a team that has the ability to regroup and be very different from 145 to the other. And I think you could see that more so as a strength with how they can build off the first half and make it different in the second.
Yeah, when we talked to Leah Pace, she said, I am not afraid to get on my teammates a little bit, and so I wish we could kind of be there at halftime to witness. But we see a handball there for Pittsburgh. That went off of Bout, and so a free kick for Syracuse, as Savello will be the one to take it, as you see that wall built for Pittsburgh. Savello just goes for it, and it curls too high. Lazzarini. So 90 seconds left in the first half. See if anyone can get on the board here. Schupansky back to the wing. Grant racing back. Here's a cross put on. Broken up and lands in front. Here's a shot. It's in! Pittsburgh at the end of the half. Hilsenteger, a beauty of a finish, and the sophomore gives the Panthers the lead.
And Bree Hilsenteger is in the right place where that ball is dropping to her. It's the second ball that she's able to get on top. Pitt now a program record with 42 goals on the season. I think that's going to be the catalyst that they needed, because you see how they were able to build forward. It's Schupansky on the flank. She's special there, able to get the ball off, and then it's the pressure initially. Not a great clearance from Hughes, and Hilsenteger, really good job stepping through that ball. Those are things that maybe they would have popped up earlier today, but she was able to get on top of it. It's a good finish.
Oh, that's a backbreaker for Syracuse, too. You played 44 minutes of really solid defensive soccer, and then the sophomore for Pittsburgh, again, makes you pay on that one. And if you're the Panthers, you got to feel much better going into halftime break. As the second goal for Hilsenteger this year. Lazzarini now with some cushion.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, there's the whistle to end the first half. We played 45 minutes at the bitter end. Bree Hilsenteger gets the job done for Pittsburgh. Again, her second goal this season, and the Panthers can take a 1-0 lead going into the halftime break. All right, we are joined by Pittsburgh head coach Randy Waldrom. Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and we got to go back to that goal at the end. What did you see there on the Hilsenteger goal?
Well, she was very composed in the box as we got it across, but I was kind of blocked in the view to see how it really got through. I think the combination to get down the flank for the cross from Schupansky was great and a good finish, but we're really fortunate to be up one. I think we've just been a defensive nightmare so far the first half, and so we've got a lot of things to sort out.
What's the message at halftime for your team?
I need somebody in the back that can stop somebody. That's what I need.
All right, Coach, we'll let you get back to the locker room. Thank you so much. All right, again, that was Pittsburgh head coach Randy Waldrom. I guess there's going to be a deep discussion at halftime. However, Pittsburgh is up 1-0 at the halftime break. We will take a break and then come back with the ACC Network halftime report after this. Stick with us on ACC Network. Welcome back. The home side is up 1-0 after 45 minutes of play. We're back to start the second half, and we are joined by Syracuse head coach Nikki Thrasher-Adams. Coach, thank you so much for hopping on. Got to ask you, Randy Waldrum, when we talked to him at halftime, said that your team has been giving his defense nightmares. How do you keep that up?
I give a lot of credit to the, 5-6 front runners that are playing right now. They're doing a good job initially starting our defending, and I think we're doing a good job of transitioning and finding moments. We just haven't been precise enough in the final third with our finishing.
We knew we would see you all defend as a unit, but the way you all are covering ground all across the field has been really impressive. What was the message to your team at halftime?
Yeah, we know Pitt has quite a few rotations within their midfield, front line, and we knew we just need to keep them in front of us, try to eliminate the width with them. I think overall we're doing a really good job. Like I said, we're going to have moments in transition after winning the ball from defending so hard, and we just got to do a better job with them.
All right, thanks, Coach. We'll let you get back to the sideline.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Again, that was Syracuse head coach Nikki Thrasher-Adams. Let's take a look at the highlights from the first 45 minutes of play. And again, as Randy Waldrum said, this Syracuse team was giving his defense nightmares early, Morgan.
And most of the highlights that we'll see will be Syracuse because of just what they did. A lot of it, too, is Chelsea DeMond. That one was early on. She was able to cut that ball back to get it on her right foot. She just really had a day in that first half, getting after the back line, creating again. This ball slipped through with the final opportunity for Mockdens, who couldn't get it to go. And we saw Syracuse have 10 set pieces in the first half between corners and free kicks. They really looked to take advantage of those opportunities, but at the end, it was Pitt right at the end. Hilsenteger. It's Schupansky special on the sideline. Not the best clearance. Really the one time that we saw the back line let up. Gillard not able to clear it, and it falls to the foot of Hilsenteger, and she's able to stay on top and put that one home.
Again, Hilsenteger's second goal this year, and that's the thing about this Pittsburgh offense, Morgan, is they will pounce if you make a mistake. Here are the shots right now, and Syracuse actually has more shots than Pittsburgh at the moment.
It's not too surprising, though, with what we saw in the first half. I would expect to see Syracuse. I don't think coming into the game I would have expected that, but with the performance we saw, really what stands out to me that's pretty shocking is the possession battle. Pitt is usually always either even with some top teams or winning that possession battle. They only had 38% of the ball in that first half. That's something I really expect to see them do differently in the second.
Well, we'll see if Syracuse has an answer or if Hilsenteger and company are able to propel themselves to victory. Again, Pittsburgh has not lost here at home, so that is something that is on the line as Waldrum looks on. I'm sure he had a conversation defensively with his team. It seemed like he had some pretty strong words for them at the halftime break, but he does have a pretty veteran squad back there, and Gordon and Davidson and that whole group, Palomo as well. Well, again, Hilsenteger is a difference right now. Happened at the bitter end of that first half when really, Syracuse, as we saw, was dominating that first half. So in the 44th minute was that lone goal. Syracuse having fun, ready to go, as it will be the Orange who will start with the ball in possession. Again, Morgan Bowen, Morris Sheridan, one of two games here on ACC Network. Got a big one. Florida State and North Carolina with Jen Hildreth and Lori Lindsay after this one. So we'll get you to Tallahassee immediately following this game. Now focused on this one right here. Pittsburgh, the number 20 team in the country. Well, Syracuse is unranked as that one shot from deep outside, or trying to catch Lazzarini off her goal line, and a little bit weak there.
Whereas something to watch for Pitt is they made a substitution at the center back position. Katie Zalski not starting the second half, and Haley Mercereau is starting in her place, number 2, and she was just running on the field at the last minute.
Yeah, that is not good news for Pittsburgh. Again, a team that's already been riddled with injuries this year. If that is because of an injury, that would be bad news. Or is that a response to maybe the defensive issues that Waldrum is viewing?
Well, based off what he shared with us, I have a feeling it might be more of a personnel change just to get someone else different in there. But I'm curious too, she was running on right before the second half whistle, so I don't know if that was a late change or if there was some miscommunication. But the freshman in Mercer is stepping in for Zalesky, and he's been really impressed with the play from Zalesky so far this season with her stepping in. But obviously something was not good enough with what he saw, just with the comment we heard, needing to stop somebody for the Syracuse attack.
It is a freshman for freshman swap. Grant crashing in. Schupansky the other way here for Pittsburgh. Gillard. Grace Gillard was the one to head it down before it landed for that Pittsburgh goal. Went right to Hilsenteger. Was able to find the back of the net. Nicely put shot. Mockdins puts on a cross. Rauch. Looking for Demond back on the pitch. Demond took a break, just a couple of minutes to go in that, or left in that first half. And, you know, I think Syracuse sorely missed her. She was making a ton of noise and being a real menace out there when she was on the pitch. Blue Ellis is back on. Bout. Fury in, offside. Well, Saturday, the ACC Huddle crew will get you ready for BC Wake Forest at 3 Eastern time. After that game, they'll do a complete wrap-up of the afternoon games, and they'll get you set for the primetime matchup between Pitt and Louisville, and it's at 8 o'clock, all right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. So again, that's college football here on ACC Network this weekend. Ellis swarmed. Fury pushed from behind, and we'll get a whistle there.
That's one of the first times we've seen Fury get the ball at her foot. Truthfully, one of the first times we've seen the ball played in her direction so she can actually get on it. And she did a nice job holding it up, but I think that's where Pitt's been struggling, is just finding that entry ball in. She does the right job. She didn't have too many options underneath her. That's the next step for Pitt. When they can create that entry pass, who's working and doing the off-ball work to get that ball and support her.
Well, we've picked up in physicality here a little bit here in the second half. Ellis, lots of green. Uses it. Demond making a run as well as Mockdins, and there's a shot. And it was a tough angle. An easy stop for Lazzarini.
Well, it's an easy stop for Lazzarini, but I think she's going to continue to be busy. Like Randy Waldron was saying, if his team can't step in and win that ball, they're really struggling to limit the opportunities for Syracuse on the attacking side. So Lazzarini might have a busy half if they're not able to win those tackles.
Divnan slips trying to clear. Lazzarini has 3 saves tonight. Syracuse was, you know, in their box, but they weren't really taking a ton of shots in that first half. We'll see if things change and open up a little bit for the Orange.
And there's the initial missed tackle. Gordon does a nice job sliding over, but she gets beat as well. And it's just special in the ball from Blue Ellis. Nobody really steps in, though, to make it too difficult for her.
Again, that Demond-Ellis tandem is a tandem that we didn't get to see in the ACC last year. Both of those players were out for the entire year with knee injuries. Well, here come Pittsburgh. There's a shot, and it's blocked by Vander Bosch. Punched away by the freshman keeper as Landy Mertz was off to the races, and that's how quickly Pittsburgh can make you work for it.
The ball played into Mertz is fantastic. It's Schupansky doing the work to get to the ball first. Then it's on her foot. She plays in behind. Those are the pockets that they can find behind Syracuse in a quick transition. She finds the foot of Mertz, but it's a great save from Shea Vander Bosch. Because if she doesn't get a touch here, that one is finding its way to the back of the net.
Schupansky off the corner. This one up. Vander Bosch off the crossbar. She punches it out. Mertz right back at it. Boy, that was a little bit awkward, but it works out for Syracuse. Pittsburgh, more pressure coming. Fury lands in front of her. Again, swarmed by orange kits. Caulfield. Palomo. Panthers attack continues. Palomo. Schupansky takes a shot and it ricochets off a defender for Syracuse. Schupansky at it again though, gets her own rebound. Bout, Schupansky. Wide, cross in, service! Nobody home, and finally cleared for Kylan Grant. Boy, that kind of stood still for a second as Demond looks for the counter. No call. Tivnan. Hilsenteger, goal scorer today. The only one we've seen. Again, in the 44th minute of this game, Vander Bosch out. Clears it right into a Pittsburgh player. Fury. Searching for options. Fury. Bout comes up with it in the area. Hilsenteger puts one on net in the 6. Schupansky tries to break loose. Palomo. Fancy footwork. And now this is more like the possession-based Panthers team that we're used to seeing.
Well, it's smart. They're pulling the ball back out and starting to look for the seams in between the outside back and the center backs from Syracuse. That's where Pitt is having a little bit more success. And this was the first big opportunity for Pitt that really created a lot. But what you see here, Schupansky creating to find Mertz. They're missing the central player really joining into the attack. So it's coming a lot from the wings. Pitt likes to interchange their front players, but they're really missing the presence more in the center of the field, and that's what's causing it to be a bit disjointed. But in the last 2 to 3 minutes, Pitt's pulling out Syracuse from their organized unit, and that's what's creating some chances because they're able to go quick to find those seams. That was missing as well in the first half.
Well, here they come again. It's Mertz. In the area, turns, squares, fires, and that one's blocked again. Mertz at it again, puts it back in, headed out by Schupansky. Redirects wide. Will be a toss in for the Panthers. And now it's Syracuse trying to catch their breath. Mertz puts one on, ricochets again. Mockton's towards the center. Ellis being pushed. And now the Panthers can reset off the swing here. Palomo. Bout. Again, 6 assists for Anna Bout. She's got great vision Takes it up herself, tries a cross, and a corner will be on the way for Pittsburgh.
We saw the same thing happen, but opposite sides. It's Pitt taking the shot and another missed handball. Obviously, Pitt had a missed handball early on when Syracuse took a shot, so 2 misses on that one.
Guess it's evened out there. Schupansky. Zalewski. Service. You can see you can hear Pittsburgh getting a little bit upset here. Wanted to push there as Schupansky went down.
And the issue with this one is Mockton's is facing her own goal. Schupansky's able to slip in behind. I definitely think it's a little bit of a grab. I don't know if that call will actually ever really be called. But if I were Schupansky, I'd be frustrated too. But it's been a really good last bit for Pitt, the way that they're building forward and creating chance after chance, consistency more in the attacking side in the build-up phase.
Fury slides down to the green and gets fouled. Well, we kind of saw that in that first half, Pittsburgh was fouling Syracuse out of frustration, and now we're seeing, this Pittsburgh offense be so strong that Syracuse is the one committing the fouls. Caulfield back for this free kick, a chance for a set piece for the Panthers. Header, Vanderbosch punches it over the crossbar. What a save from the freshman.
Shea Vanderbosch has had 2 really big extended saves. This is another one because it's a good connection from Bout. You can see Vanderbosch knows where she is. She even catches the side, the post there, but that's a fantastic save.
This one up, and that one hits the post again. Caulfield tries to keep it alive. Schupansky. Emma Klein playing at the 6 today for Syracuse. That's her normal spot for the Orange. Has been praised by her head coach in Thrasher Adams as, another unsung hero on this roster. She's done a great job as just a sophomore playing that defensive holding midfielder, position, and it's never an easy one. As Mockton slides down.
Mockton not happy after that one. It's Palomo. I think that's a really good tackle from Adelie Palomo going low.
Mertz is offside.
Mertz is going to want that opportunity back, but what's different so far this half too is we're seeing the outside wingers for Pitt switch up their runs a little bit. They've had some success going wide and that ball in behind, but now they're looking a little bit more diagonal and bringing the run from the outside to the inside. Pitt has different dimensions in this second half. I still would love to see Palomo continue to get forward, Haley Davidson maybe a little bit on that right side, just to switch up the runs too, coming from Schupansky and Mertz, so they can really come inside a little bit more.
Well, we'll redo that. Again, JC Griggs, our head referee, center referee today, is Vanderbosch back to take it. Again, Shea Vanderbosch just had to make a couple of stops in a row, got some help from the post. Pitt's definitely turned it up a notch here in the second half. Demond. Gillard moves it forward.
before, they might have lost the ball afterwards, but Syracuse able to possess on that sideline. It's not easy to do. They were finding the ball forward, tight spaces, and they weren't afraid to come back with it. That's the sign to me of a really sophisticated style building. I think the next step is how they consistently do that, maybe connect and hold on to possession versus just sending the final ball forward. But it's really good little spurts for Syracuse, more in the possession style.
Well, we will see Aaron Fleury re-enter the game for Syracuse as Blue Ellis will take a step off. We'll see if we see Ellis again or if it's Fleury for the rest of the way.
I was purposely hitting it down there so that
Half an hour left in this one. Score is still the same as it was at halftime. Again, Ambrose Urbanic Field here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Murphy will throw off to Demond. Second try to Lazzarini. Again, ACC Women's Soccer Championship is just around the corner. We've got the playoffs coming up. The first round starts next week. I mean, it's all pretty crazy. October 30th is the first round of games, and then we play through November 6th. And again, as I say every week, I think your guess is as good as mine is who's going to be the two teams that are playing November 6th in that championship game. Paloma with a strong tackle. She takes out Fleury in the process. It will be a set piece here for Syracuse, and we pretty much know where they are going, to Jenna Tiffin.
Well, Natalie Palomo is such a strong defender for the Panthers, really closing down Fleury, not giving her much to work with. She's been really impressive for me just year over year in what she's done with Pitt.
Murphy on the set piece. Demond able to stop, and the touch is too heavy.
Palomo just completely shutting down Fleury. She forces her wide. Fleury might have a step on her at first, but it's the way that Palomo closes the space and goes down for the tackle. It's really well done.
Yeah, that's two really nice tackles in succession here for Palomo. Again, a senior from Irving, Texas. Bout being pushed on that touchline. We'll see Fleming Dean re-enter the game for Pittsburgh, so the freshman returns. Hilsenteger comes out. Again, she still has a game winner at the moment. Demond. Little stiff arm there from Chelsea Demond. Looking for Rauch.
Chelsea Demond created that opportunity in the similar way that we saw her in the first half, but she's just not as high up the field. I think she still has the ability to be a little bit more dangerous. Right on that back line, she can pick off the ball from Pitt. So if she can just continue to be that first line of defense, but a little bit higher up the field, I think we'll see more of that production that we saw in the first half.
Not quite a corner for Syracuse. Skips to Lazzarini. I get the feeling Syracuse is going to have to challenge her a little bit more to get this equalizer. Gillard, the long ball. Zalewski boots it out.
It didn't go, but I don't mind that idea from Syracuse if they can just play it in behind the back line of Pitt, because something that we were hearing from Nikki Thrasher-Adams is if they can get the Pitt defenders to face their own goal, that puts Syracuse in a really good spot. So can they play that ball in behind? So Pitt is facing their own goal, chasing after that ball. Syracuse knows that they have the ability to make that even more dangerous.
Landy Mertz a little shaken up here for Pittsburgh. And we'll see Leah Pace re-enter the game. So Fury comes out, Leah Pace comes in. Again, this is about where she normally comes in, her sweet spot, if you will. Also see Mackenzie Evers enter. Schupansky will take a seat. Well, Palomo is getting her work cut out for her, though. Head-to-head with Monctons today. Grant. Can't get through Evers. Just checked in. Here's Mackenzie Evers. Last line was Jenna Tivnan. Mertz, Pace. In the nick of time, it's Murphy. Mertz gets it right back, and here comes Pittsburgh. Mertz, Leah Pace has some time in the box. Pace dumps it out to Evers, and Kylan Grant steps in.
Andy Mertz put in the work to pick this ball off to create that opportunity. She's in behind, and it's a good ball that she plays across to the foot of Pace. And this is not a bad idea from Leah Pace because she has no angle. She's not able to face up fully and look on frame herself. I don't know if she caught her player off guard or what, but Evers was not ready for that ball. It's an unfortunate miss for Pitt.
Bout up to Pace. On the top of the box here, Demond the other way for Syracuse. Tivnan off the restart. Again, the Orange very much in this game. We have not seen any goals in the second half. Pittsburgh did not score until the 44th minute. So with just a minute left in that first half. Caulfield. Mertz. Pace. Mertz again. Swings to the other side. Pittsburgh looking to attack. Bout. Palomo's up. I know you wanted to see a little bit more of that, Morgan. Nice battle with Grant. It's Bout past Monctons. Service is up. Here's a chance. Evers, Pace, tries to tuck it in the corner with her left foot and just a hair off.
I'd been waiting to see Adelie Palomo get into the attack, and the way that she gets forward, it creates overloads on the ball, but also it allows other players to get forward. It's the ball in from Anna Bout. It's not a bad one. This touch from Fleming Dean, I don't know if she actually hit it or if it was the defender, but it comes right back to the foot of Leah Pace. I actually think it was the deflection from Syracuse. Pace goes to just push that one in the corner, but can't get it to go.
Well, that could have been the nail in the coffin for Pittsburgh to just end this game right here against Syracuse, and they do not. So the Orange still, again, very much alive. Pittsburgh's possession numbers have most certainly gone up here in the second half.
And that opportunity, you always want that one to go, but especially with Pitt, they've obviously created more in the second half, but Syracuse isn't giving up too many chances. So that one was even more important for Pitt to put it away. And it's unfortunate, but Leah Pace had the right decision there, because you know if she stepped up and hit that one like a line drive, she easily could have mishit it. So she went with the smarter option, just a little bit off target.
See Savella come back in the game for Syracuse. Commandit comes out. Well, we see that Pittsburgh now has 9 shots in this game, 6 in the second half alone. Pace again. From Mertz, over the head of Leah Pace. Mertz has it again. Same side on that wing. Puts it up for Pace, and it's going to be a goal kick for Vanderbosch.
Credit this back line from Syracuse, because Jenna Tivnan cleared a ball out that easily looked like it was going to find its way to the back of the net, and then it was another great defensive response from Syracuse on the second chance from Pace, although she missed the target on that one too.
Well, Tivnan is going to be a tough player to replace at center back next year for Syracuse, but then you look at Gillard's a freshman, Kylan Grant's a sophomore, and Kate Murphy is a junior. Everybody else is returning for the Orange. Again, 64 career starts for Tivnan. She is absolutely crucial when you're trying to rebuild, to have someone that's really bought in. She most certainly has, and she's been willing to guide this young group. Syracuse looking for the equalizer as that one bounces its way to Lazzarini. Not the best shot.
Well, Maura, Tivnan's been such a huge part of this Syracuse program, but you also have to remember she's seen some changes with players, with coaches. Also went through the COVID year. That was a huge just turning point for a lot of programs and kind of what happened there. It's something that, you know, has never happened before. So she's been through a lot with this program, and the leadership from Jenna Tivnan over the years has been just a big pillar for Syracuse and allowed them to grow how they have, and as they will continue to. She's just really been a big starting point for that, and Nikki Thrasher-Adams just had nothing but praise to say about the influence of Jenna Tivnan on the Syracuse soccer program.
Yeah, Thrasher-Adams said, look, I asked her to stick with me, to stay with Syracuse and not transfer, and she did that, and she's earned the minutes that she's played, and she's earned this role with the team.
And you look at the last 4 seasons, just what they've done in the first 3 of those 430 losses. It's not easy to be a player in that environment. You also have to think these are all players who for their clubs probably were some of the best players on their team, if not in their area. They're playing in the ACC, the top women's conference. They're highly sought after. So to not have a lot of wins and not do well, it's difficult. It's hard to come back and stay motivated, but I think you just have to give credit to Jenna Tivnan, and she has been bought in, and now you're seeing all of Syracuse, all of these players do the same. And I was just really impressed with our conversation with Nikki Thrasher-Adams, and I shared there's so many programs in the ACC that are building. You look at what Pitt has done. NC State has done as well with their consecutive NCAA appearances. Syracuse making that as well, Virginia Tech back in the day. This level continues to rise when we talk about the teams year over year, and then the ones who are also improving their programs. It's a really fun time to be a fan of women's soccer and a fan of ACC soccer. The level just gets so much better year over year.
Evers. Up the middle here for Pittsburgh. Caulfield off the head of Leah Pace. Palomo. Little chip there from Dean. Palomo. Gordon just uses her keeper. Again, remember, just settle in because we've got a great ACC women's soccer slate, because immediately after this game, North Carolina and Florida State. 2-4 in the country. It's hard to put a label on teams right now, but maybe the top 2 teams in the ACC. I'm not really sure. Notre Dame is certainly making a case at the moment, but that's going to be an absolutely crucial game for both of those sides. And remember, Pittsburgh has Florida State next. I mean, the good news, though, for the Panthers is that they get to, just kind of breathe here, because the final 3 regular season games are at home for Pittsburgh. I do think that is a luxury that other teams are not going to get to have. And while they do have to play Syracuse and Florida State, it's still nice to not have to be traveling all around creation before you head into the postseason.
Well, especially as they're still trying to solidify themselves in the postseason, it makes it even more important. You're right. And it's just something about playing at home. You get to prepare at home. You're in a field you're familiar with. But yeah, it's not going to be easy, Florida State and Clemson, especially as they're trying to continue with those wins. But all these games left, including the one tonight, just really sets them up well for ACC postseason as well as NCAA postseason.
We'll see Mellenhorst come in. Kira Mellenhorst and Fleming Dean will exit the game for Pittsburgh. Rauch with the shove. Syracuse is feeling it a little bit. Well, Syracuse has not won a game in which they've conceded first. Gillard head on a swivel because Pace is behind. Boxes Pace, and Pace comes out and gets possession. You could see the freshman really aware that Pace was on her back, and it didn't seem to matter. Leah Pace just slips through.
Well, Leah Pace got the inside edge there and then was able to go around Gillard. Gillard just trying to stop her and pull her down. A bit of a professional foul because Pace would have been able to hold on to possession there, but it's a really tough place to give up a set piece.
All right, Palomo through the air. Caulfield's blocked. Mertz has a chance, and Vanderbosch denies.
Okay, we're locked in now.
Vanderbosch asking for help from her team, but I think Cuse has been basically a wall on all of these shots that Pitt is looking to take, because it's the initial one is blocked when Caulfield goes up for it, but it's a good shot from Landy Mertz, a better save from Vanderbosch.
But we'll get another corner kick. From Palomo, we got a whistle before, and it's back with Syracuse.
And as the ball came out, Landy Mertz did a nice job stepping through. She had a player on her back, but Shea Vanderbosch just full on extension. That ball looks like it's gonna dip right under the crossbar. So Vanderbosch is special there again.
No, she's keeping her team alive. Pitt has had multiple opportunities in the second half to just close the lid on this one.
Well, I want to talk to her after the games. I want to know how she's feeling after these saves, the way that she is extending time over time. And she does it throughout the whole season. Someone's got to check in on her.
Well, you can feel she's an incredibly intense player, and every time that I've watched Vanderbosch play, she has, been asking a lot of her teammates and of herself. That is very evident. She is a very vocal leader, and that is necessary as a freshman keeper. She might have to make a stop here, and she does, as Schupansky with a shot right to her point blank. Again, 3 saves for Vanderbosch today, but they've been huge saves. Should get double for that.
I agree with that completely. They've been big saves. It's not just trickling to her in the box. She's really having to work for those saves.
Palomo draws a foul. Again, Pittsburgh happy to bleed some clock here. Bouncer to Vanderbosch. Caulfield, Mertz. Burst of speed for Landy Mertz. Now in the box, Mertz with a shot, and Vanderbosch has it covered.
The way that Ellie Caulfield found the other side, just the vision to know that she had Landy Mertz on that side was really well done, because she had to hit that ball quickly to limit Syracuse's ability to slide over. Obviously, no goal came from it, so we won't always talk about it much, but that was really good vision in the middle of the park from Caulfield and from the initial ball into her. She stepped through it here, and the first touch from Landy Mertz put her in behind her defender. Really well done from Pitt. You see the explosive burst of speed, knowing Leah Pace is also there on the right. That was a really good interchange for the Panthers.
Again, just evident by the numbers, there's a significant difference here in the Pitt offense that we saw in the first half and the Pitt offense that we're seeing in the second half. 3 shots in the first, 9 in the second. Rauch bobbled and then handled by Lazzarini. We got a couple players colliding there, and now it's Davidson who's down for Pittsburgh, holding her hand.
And Davidson goes in, gets caught a little bit, tangled up as she goes down. It's hard to see exactly what happened, but she's holding that wrist.
Looks like she's going to be all right to continue. We got 8.5 minutes to go in the second half, Syracuse and Pittsburgh. And again, the score remains the same as it was at the halftime break.
And Maura, we saw the stats that supported it, but seeing Pitt's production in the first half, 3 shots versus 9 in the second, I made a statement in the first half that they have the ability to be a different team in the second half, and I do think that's a positive, but what is a little bit worrisome is maybe how it takes them a little bit longer to get going in the first half and to really find their style for a team that has aspirations of making the NCAA tournament, of continuing to grow their program. That's something they have to be more consistent with. Because when it comes to the NCAA tournament and just tournament time in general, there's not always that extra bit. Or maybe if you're not full on in the first half, another team actually will be, and they're not going to let you back in the game. So that's definitely an area that Pitt's going to want to clean up throughout the end of this regular season, whether or not they make the ACC tournament. I do expect to see them in the NCAA tournament, but when it comes to that, they have to be ready from the first whistle. It can't take them a while to really get into the game, because they'll be playing against good teams that can easily change that. And really, they can take advantage of it early in the game.
Schupansky just keeps on going. Finally, the defense gets it out of trouble here for Syracuse. And also Pitt, you know, we talked about them offensively, 42 goals this year, but if this stands, only 2 goals in the last 2 games, that's not really on par with the production that they've had for most of the season as Leah Pace gets fouled.
And tonight's game definitely would not be on pace with what we've seen from them, but it is on pace with what we've seen from Syracuse and how they are really able to limit some of the top attacking teams. I think that is something that you could easily make a statement about, that game after game, they are one of the more difficult teams to play against. I wouldn't say they're the most defensively sound 1v1 across the field, but the way that they come together as a unit in their team defending, I do think is one of the best in the conference.
Super organized and super bought in. We'll see if they can do something here. As Schupansky and Caulfield discuss, Caulfield and Vanderbosch again makes another stop. The freshman is all over the place for Syracuse.
It's a fantastic strike from Ellie Caulfield. She just steps through it. The ball barely even spins. That's how you know she struck it in the most beautiful way. Kind of has a little bit of a knuckle to it at the end. Well done from Shea Vanderbosch. That's not an easy save, especially when you're kind of lining up expecting for that ball to be whipped in.
Corner for Pittsburgh. Vanderbosch again punches it up. Still hasn't landed. Caulfield. Too high. I think all of Vanderbosch's stops have been punches over the crossbar. Again, 5 saves all in the second half for the freshman. Got 5 minutes left. Schupansky, past Vanderbosch. This is danger. Doesn't have numbers though. Schupansky just shoots and she scores. Chaos in front, and Pittsburgh takes a 2-0 lead. That's 6 goals on the year for Sarah Schupansky, and that is a nail in the coffin that Pittsburgh needed.
When it's the ball that draws Vanderbosch out deep, it's the forced turnover from Pitt. Sarah Schupansky just gets there first, and the finesse on this ball when it's on her left foot to curl it in to that far post. That's not a great angle, but the way that she can bend it in with her left foot, that's a beautiful finish. A very intelligent goal from Sarah Schupansky, and it started from the team turnover, and she was first to that ball. It's a really pretty finish.
Yeah, she knew she had to take advantage of the moment with Vanderbosch out of her net and off her line as far as she was, and she does. And again, 6 goals on the year for Sarah Schupansky to go along with a team-high 7 assists. She's having a fantastic sophomore season for Pittsburgh.
More, what was also really impressive about that is sometimes when a goalkeeper is out, players just look to get the ball off their foot quickly to try to beat the goalkeeper going back into the net. But that's sometimes when you can force it and you don't hit that ball as cleanly as you might know you can. But Schupansky, it's just the high level thinking that she had. She's so dangerous with that left foot. She knew if she had a little bit of an angle, she could just curl it in. That was a really top class goal. It was pretty.
And Pittsburgh had been knocking on the door of that for the majority of the second half, and finally they get goal number 2. And that's very deflating for Syracuse, who maybe felt like they had a chance here late.
It's also a bit frustrating for Cuse because they really haven't had many mistakes on the back line, but it was the press from Pitt that was a little bit too much.
Pace, right to Vanderbosch. Ellis, Zalesky head-to-head, bump into each other, and then Ellis commits a foul. A goal kick for Vanderbosch, as we'll see a couple more subs come back in. Fleming Dean re-enters, as does Evers on the Pittsburgh side. Schupansky getting some love from Waldrum as she exits the game, deservedly so. Like you said, Morgan, it was a really good finish, all things considered, and you could tell it was a chaotic moment, but to have the poise to actually get the job done, again, credit to Schupansky, and it was her first goal since a mid-September Virginia Tech goal, and they need to get her going again, scoring-wise.
And that's something that makes Schupansky so dangerous, too, is you know she has the speed and she can get in behind, but her vision, too, whether she's playing it, we saw her play a really good ball to Landy Mertz whether she's combining or just vision in front of the goal, or in that case, at a really tough angle on the side of the goal, to be able to curl that ball in. It was really, really nice from Schupansky.
All smiles on the Pittsburgh bench as Mertz and Schupansky look on. You know, for the nightmare that Waldrum said this offense was, Syracuse's offense was, I think Pittsburgh's done a really good job here in the second half, and it started from their forward line and the pressure that they put on. But they're staring at a shutout right now, Pittsburgh. And the way that we heard from him at halftime, you would think that they were down 3-0.
And their back line has stepped up a little bit more, but like you said, it's how it started higher up the field, because Demond was all over this back line in the first half. We didn't see much from Chelsea Demond in the second because she wasn't able to get on the ball as much. Just because of where the pressure was starting with Pitt, they really took her out of the game, which is what I think made Syracuse not as threatening in the second half. Demond was really all over them, and they couldn't contain her, but you have to give credit to Syracuse and how they came out in this first half. They're going to want the second half back, but Syracuse is still a team that's so difficult to beat, so credit to Pitt for finding a way tonight.
Well, I could have just put the broadcaster's jinx on because Syracuse has a set piece as Murphy lofts one up. Vander Bosch was up to try to help out the keeper for Syracuse. Pitt is ready. They are excited because the Pittsburgh Panthers now have 12 program wins. They are the winningest team in Pittsburgh history. 2-0 defeat of Syracuse. It's exactly what the doctor ordered. Well, that's going to do it here again. Pittsburgh takes down Syracuse 2-0. For Morgan Bowen and our entire ACC Network crew, I'm Maura Sheridan saying so long.